And action. Taz had a question about ketosis or the ketogenic diet and how to maximize on it. This is the hot topic for the day. It was first the fats and no fat from about 20 years ago, and everybody got fat. And then it became the Atkins, and then the paleo. Now it's the ketosis diet, or to remain in ketosis. But if this is the first time you're finding me, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the alert button to find out when I talk about other topics. But the topic for the day is the ketogenic diet, also known as ketosis, or getting into ketosis. So it just so happens that it is now lunchtime for the next 10 minutes, and this is what I'm eating. This is all chicken. However, usually the easy access to fats would be with meat products, unfortunately. You can certainly get fats out of avocado. I have some here. Well, I didn't bring my avocado today. So you can get avocado, guacamole. You can get it with fatty products. This is a Caesar dressing / dip. This is for, hard to eat this alone, but I'll have it with snap peas. This stuff that I have is 15 grams of fat and 1 gram of carbohydrate. That's pretty good. So I just wanted to, since Taz had a question, I thought the problem that Taz was going through, which I just heard another person ask me about, was that if you're really watching those macronutrients, and I like the work of Stephen Phinney. I like his ideas with ketosis and his work in the 80s with ketosis not affecting exercise was awesome, and not having to calorically restrict anything too. So anyway, but when Taz and my other patients are really hitting it properly as far as getting grams of fat to like 160 to 180 per day, and grams of carbohydrates to 20 grams a day, and grams of protein to 100 to 150 grams a day, that's a good blend. That's how Stephen Phinney uses it for his athletes, and I think the same thing. If you can get your macronutrients kind of like that, that's part of the formula. The part of the formula I don't like is when you go into calorie restriction. Again, as part of his information, I'll put a link down below to the NIH study. You don't have to calorie restrict. If you're used to calorie restricting, or if you're coming off of Jason Fung's intermittent fasting, that's fine, but I think when you calorie restrict, your body will start to reset its metabolic rate, and you might blow the whole thing about trying to divert over to burning fat instead of burning carbohydrates. So I'd say ease up, let go on your calories in per day. Average American's probably taking too much at 3,000. I think 2,000 if you're training. 2,400 is probably good. Again, keeping that proportion in place, like I mentioned. Just as a couple of examples, this is my nut butter from sunflower seeds. This is 16 grams of fat, 7 grams of carbs. I'm just going to read these things off. For my pumpkin seeds, you've got 15 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbs. Sunflower seeds, 15 grams of fat, 7 grams of carbs. Pine nuts, 15 grams of fat, 1 gram of carb. My protein mix from Target, 8 grams of fat, 10 grams of carbs, so it's kind of almost even, but gives you a variety of different tastes. I also have my assorted nuts that I usually dive into for snacks. The nuts, tree or ground, are usually high in fat. They also have protein, they also have a little carbohydrate, but the net result from carbs because of the fiber is probably negligible. Again, you're looking for fat content. Kipper snacks, which is herring, 10 grams of fat, 0 carbs. Mackerel with Mediterranean flavor to it is 18 grams of fat, 0 carbs. Nice, but it stinks. I have to eat this in the garage because nobody else wants to hang around with me. My protein supplement is 14 grams of fat, 6 grams of carbs, 1 gram of sugar. This is awesome stuff, especially when I take people hiking. There's another version, just has almond, not as much protein, but 16 grams of fat and 4 grams of carbs. So you can see all these things as we go down the line are heavier on the fat side. These are my chicken burgers, which is what I'm eating here. Chicken burgers by Adele's. 11 grams of fat and 3 grams of carbs. This was surprising. So I sometimes use the pink salmon or the packaged stuff when I take people hiking. This was 1 gram of fat and 0.5 grams of carbs. It's only 1 serving, but again, that's after going through a very regimented hike. So how do we get past plateau? Well, you have to remember, the body is very smart and intelligent about self-preservation. So when you start to decrease your caloric intake, the body resets its metabolic rate to be very efficient at extracting energy out of every morsel you eat. If you're stressed out, same thing. If it's stress or fight or flight all day long, and you don't have to be stressed like gun holding up threatening, it can be just stress with driving if you're a driver for FedEx, or being customer service if you have angry customers all the time. But if you are, or you can be bullied. So either of those things, when you're stressed all day, you release cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine to defend yourself. When you have to constantly defend yourself every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, then your body's going to be taking any calorie you take in, any energy packet you take in, and putting it away into fat to self-preserve and save for when we have to dash or fight. So there's a couple of things that trump just the metabolics going from fat burning to carb burning, or carb burning to fat burning. Your 2 fuel sources are fat or carbs, no question. The Inuit would rely only on fat, and they had a lower disease process than we do in America. So that's just one example, but there's other cultures around the world that can maintain and survive on high-fat diets. So it doesn't mean that you can have an ice cream tub. It doesn't mean that you can have something. Well, you still have to notice what your carbs are. I think that having no carbs in your diet it probably is unsustainable. I can't imagine anybody, especially with all these things being mixed in, there's always going to be a little bit of carbohydrate, but I think if you can control how much the proportions are, like what Stephen Finney usually suggests, then that's one part of the formula. If you can get moving, so sometimes if you hit a plateau, like what Taz and my other patient were going through, if you hit a plateau, you have to analyze, is this because your thyroid's slowing down because it thinks you're in starvation? Is it because you're sick and metabolism's changed? Is it because your exercise from before, although it was okay, is not enough now? You might have to shake up a couple things. So you might have to go outside your comfort level and design a different exercise program, dive into more mindful practice, stress-reducing activities, let up on such a calorie restrictions. All these things are important. Change your sleep habit, look into the thyroid, the adrenals. So all these things are important. It's not just, I love the authors that put books out there, but it's not just taking the calories and macronutrients and manipulating them. That's not ever going to be the only answer. It's just one piece of the puzzle. So it always comes down to a lifestyle change. And whether you like it or not, and a lot of my guys don't like mindful practice, or they don't want to go to a psychologist, but I really empower my patients to have a well-rounded mindful practice, a well-rounded exercise routine, a variety of different foods of the harvest of the season. So there are some nice studies on tribes in Africa where they find that different times of the year they have different microbiomes in the gut. Yet these guys are thin and probably doing a lot of walking. However, it just goes to show you that depending on where the harvest was, or depending on where the kills were with the meat that they could hunt, you would have a different area of the country that you would exist in, different plethora of foods, and when you change that, the gut will change. When the gut changes, then we have balance. So it always comes down to that. It's always a give and take. It's always, no one person has a one formula. Everybody's a little different. So it might take a little bit of problem solving, a little bit of tinkering with the different formulas, different activities, different foods, different mindful practices. But either way, don't just continue the formula if it's not serving you. If you're plateauing, look for a problem, investigate, have your doctor or your healthcare provider investigate, and hopefully you get past the plateau. But there's always a way to break it. So good question, Taz. If you have any other comments down below on whether ketosis has worked for you, or you like paleo or you don't, please put them down. And otherwise, I'll see you at the next clinic.